There was a moment when almost all of Europe was convinced that Poland would give in, that the protests would die down, that Brussels would win, that the pressure would eventually be enough to bring Warsaw to its knees. That moment has passed, and what came after, no one saw coming. Stay with me, because what Poland is preparing next makes everything you have seen so far look like a rehearsal. Policy briefings in Brussels read like forecasts, not warnings. The European Parliamentary Research Service, the Commission, the think tanks, they all spoke the same language. Poland would fold, Poland would yield. Every scenario assumed Warsaw's resistance was a phase, a bargaining chip, a show for the cameras. The word they used was alignment, not if, but when. Elite surveys backed it up. In 2022, a majority of EU policymakers and analysts surveyed by the European Council on Foreign Relations predicted Poland would eventually accept EU-wide migration relocation schemes. The numbers did not leave room for doubt. 58% of respondents in Germany, France, Italy, and the Netherlands said yes, Poland will fall in line. The Eurobarometer Elite module went further. 62% of ministers and members of the European Parliament said Poland would sign on to the Border Security Pact by 2024. The expectation was so entrenched, it barely needed to be stated. Brussels expected compliance. Berlin expected cooperation. Paris expected a return to order. The official language grew sharper. In 2019, a European Parliament briefing named Poland as a key resistant member, but concluded that future alignment is assumed in most scenario analyses. On February 10, 2026, the Parliament fast-tracked deportation rules and set a deadline. Poland must reject asylum claims from safe countries by June. The rapporteur's words were blunt. Poland has repeatedly signaled resistance, but the legislative timetable makes it clear that the EU expects compliance. Media commentary followed suit. Reuters declared Poland's posture likely to soften under sustained EU pressure. The assumption was everywhere. Poland's defiance was temporary. The numbers, the polls, the institutional language all pointed in one direction. The only question was how long Warsaw could hold out. But here is where it gets interesting. Because what came next, no one in Brussels, Berlin, or Paris was prepared to face. 17,000 Polish troops, armored vehicles, thermal imaging towers. This is not a border in theory, it is a border in force. Every morning, every night, boots hit the frost and mud. The line holds. The message is simple. Not here, not now, not on our watch. But here is where it gets interesting. In October 2020, an internal manual, OG 2020-12, leaked from the border guard. It spells out the rules. No entry, no exceptions, no humanitarian loopholes. Pushback drills are rehearsed. Rubber bullets, tear gas, water cannon are authorized. In Bobrovniki, July 2020, a mass crossing attempt turned violent. 10 migrants were hospitalized. The footage is time-stamped and the GPS coordinates are logged. Numbers do not lie. Every incident is logged and reviewed. The Supreme Court and the European Court of Human Rights have both weighed in. The legal arguments pile up, but on the ground, the routine does not change. Patrols sweep the riverbank. Drones scan for movement. Any breach is met with force. Injuries happen. Complaints mount. Yet the order stands. No passage. Contrast this with the German lesson. In 2015, Germany opened its borders. The result? A 140% rise in asylum applications by 2023, from 158,000 to 380,000. No other European Union country saw a jump like this. The numbers are public. The charts are everywhere. Germany's decision was unilateral. The consequences shared. But Poland? Not here. Not now. Not ever. Stay with me. The data is coming. The numbers will speak for themselves. Poland, 38 million people, over 90% Catholic. The numbers are not abstract, they are the backbone. This is a country defined by its own facts, not by someone else's expectations. Let's count them. 0 Islamist terror attacks on Polish soil in the past decade. Not one. Not a single successful plot. The police records, the Europol dossiers, the terrorism databases, they all agree. 0. Unemployment? 5%. Eurostat confirms it. Lower than the EU average. In the middle of a continent struggling with joblessness, Poland keeps its people working. Growth? 4% a year on average since the pandemic. The IMF, the World Bank, every chart tells the same story. Poland ranks third in the entire EU for real GDP growth since 2021. Debt? Debt at 58% of GDP. Compare that to France at 116%, Germany at 63%. Poland's debt is not just low for Europe, it's low for any advanced economy. Fiscal room to maneuver. The ability to say no. The ability to defend the border, not just with words, but with resources. Defense spending, Poland meets and exceeds the NATO target, 2.3% of GDP. Tanks, drones, armored vehicles, surveillance towers. This is not a paper commitment. This is a budget line, paid in full. Numbers do not lie. Population, religion, security, jobs, growth, debt, defense. These are not slogans. These are the facts, and the facts are the answer. Not here, not now, not ever. The numbers speak for themselves. The cameras catch the moment. President Andrzej Duda stands at the podium, eyes fixed on Friedrich Merz. The room is tense. No handshakes, no smiles. Duda's voice is sharp. We see a clear violation of the Schengen principle, and the German side, represented by Mr. Merz, continues to turn a blind eye while the numbers rise. Silence. Merz's reply is clipped, almost dismissive. We will discuss the matter, but the numbers are not up for debate. Duda does not flinch. He spells it out. Germany's illegal migration has jumped by 140% since 2015. One country made a choice. The rest of Europe pays the price. The German decision was unilateral. The consequences are shared. But Poland, not here, not now, not ever. The exchange echoes far beyond the press room. The European Parliament picks up the thread. The speaker's voice rings out. The EU has challenged Poland in elections 8 times in a row. 8 times we have won. Get used to it. No hedging, no apology. The message is clear. Warsaw does not bend. The numbers do not lie. 8 elections, 8 victories. The verdict is in. Brussels can demand, Berlin can predict, but the answer is the same. Poland's stance is not a phase. It is a mandate. It is the will of 38 million people, written in ballots, enforced at the border, spelled out in every economic chart and every silent pause after a German retort. The confrontation is not just political theater. It is vindication, live and on record. The room falls quiet, but the echo is loud. 8 times. Get used to it. History is not an abstraction here. In Poland, the memory of partition, invasion, and occupation is more than a lesson. It is a warning. Every statute, every steel post in the ground, every line of code in a surveillance drone is built on that memory. The fence on the Belarusian border? Official procurement papers. Tender 2021 FO019. Authorize PLN. 1.2 billion for a barrier no one can ignore. Concrete, steel, thermal cameras, anti-tank trenches. The law is not a suggestion. In January 2022, the Act on the Protection of the State Border was amended to allow fast-track deportations, a 15-day clock ticking for anyone denied entry. No loopholes, no delays. Parliament did not hesitate. The legal text is blunt. The border guard can reject entry and remove a person without a court's prior approval. Critics object, but the statute stands. And the budget? Poland spends 2.3% of gross domestic product on defense, above the NATO threshold, above the EU average. These are not gestures. These are tools. Numbers do not lie. The border holds because the state is ready, funded, and determined. Not here, not now, not ever. Brussels did not stay silent. The European Court of Human Rights handed down its ruling. Poland must guarantee real access to asylum at its borders. The judgment is clear. Systemic barriers, legal shortcuts, not enough. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International add their own evidence. Medical care denied. Buffer zones closed. Reports pile up. Migrants left in limbo. Collective expulsions. Rights at risk. The pressure mounts, but the numbers do not wait. Legal experts model three futures. First, Poland bends and the whole eastern frontier cracks open. Second, Brussels imposes sanctions, but Warsaw holds the line, and contagion spreads west. Third, the Polish model becomes the template. Fortress Europe, border by border. No one in Brussels is ready for that answer. The stakes are not abstract. The legal clash is real. The next move? Still unwritten. 8 elections, 8 victories. Numbers do not lie. While Germany saw illegal migration surge 140%, Poland had 0 terror attacks. Not here. Poland draws the line. Brussels can threaten, lecture, or cajole. But the facts remain. Sovereignty stands. The world watches. And the answer is still, get used to it.